Streaming live from the HPU Esports Arena, powered by DSE Hawaii on the Hawaii Pacific University campus at Aloha Tower Marketplace. Here's your host, Hawaii Pacific University's Vice President and Chief Marketing Communications Officer, Jeffrey Rich.
Aloha, Sharks Nation. Hey, it's Thursday morning again, and we are back broadcasting live from HPU's Esports Arena, powered by DSE Hawaii, here on the beautiful, amazing campus of Hawaii Pacific University. It's another beautiful Thursday morning. As the intro said, I am your host, Jeff Rich, and we've got a special show for you today. You know, usually we have one of HPU's sports programs in, and we talk with the coach and the athletes about the season, how it's going, learn a little bit about the athletes. Today, we've got a little bit of an administrative focus on athletics. We have in studio today HPU's Executive Director of Athletics, Dr. Debbie Snell, and Associate Director of Athletics and Business Operations, Mr. Mo Roberson. We also have, representing HPU's Student Athlete Advisory Committee, or better known as SAAC, HPU MBA candidate Tucker Pellicci. He works real closely with Director Roberson on the SAAC committee, and we're going to learn a little bit about what SAAC does and how important it is to the student athletes here at the university. So welcome to the show, everybody. It's going to be an interesting conversation.
Yes, thank you.
Well, hey, let's jump in first, and before we start, learning about SAAC, I want to introduce you formally, Debbie. So you and I have worked together for about coming up on 2 years now, and
yes, it's been great.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful partnership, and you've built just fantastic athletics programs. And Mo, you've been instrumental in helping to build out HPU's athletics.
That's right.
So we're really excited to have you guys on the show today. But I want to know a little bit about your pathways to HPU. So Debbie, tell us a little bit about your background and
Sure.
What got you here.
Sure, thank you. Hey, thank you so much for being our host. You've done a great job this year, and we really appreciate that you spend the time to get here, get ready, and highlight all of our amazing coaches and our student athletes. Thank you for doing that. We really appreciate and value you. So thanks.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And a shout out back to the people in the office who are working hard today. We have a great administrative team here at HPU in athletics. Eli Schottmer is our Assistant Director of Athletics for Compliance. He's back in the office. Hey, Eli. We invited him, but he's too busy to be here this morning. He'll be here some other day.
He's got compliance things to be doing, right?
Got compliance things to be doing. Glad Mo could be here. Mo and I have worked before previously at other institutions, and he just brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to this position. He's the voice of reason always, and has a great background to share with you later. So we really appreciate what he does. We have a great Tui Uli Felice is our Assistant Director of Athletics for Facilities and Events. She is at every event, and she's amazing. We love her. So shout out to her as well. And then Leah is our administrative assistant back in the office too. So we have a great team, and they do a great job. So I am so just honored and pleased and privileged to be here and work at HPU. I thank our administrative team, President Gotanda, our provost Jennifer Walsh, all the folks who really make this place a special place to be. And you, of course, Jeff, thank you so much. So I have been in the PacWest Conference for several years, and at 3 other institutions in the Pac West, and so I've been in athletics administration my whole adult life.
And you were a student athlete.
I was a student athlete back way back in the day.
Well, it wasn't that far back, but
University of Arkansas. I went there and played basketball there.
Razorback, huh?
Go Hogs, yes. And it changed my life. That experience, that opportunity was life-changing for me. I grew up in a little tiny town in Arkansas, and not a lot of opportunity, really, to be honest, there. So that experience as a student athlete, athletics and education changed my life. So that's what it's all about for us, right? We do what we do for the student athlete and to provide an opportunity for them that's life-changing. Mm-hmm. That's our goal always. So I got into coaching and teaching after I played and coached for many years, and then had an opportunity when I was at Palm Beach Atlantic University, go Sailfish, I was coaching there, and they were making a transition to NCAA Division II. And they said, we need someone to do compliance, and no one raised their hand. So, of course, I said, I'll do it. I don't know what that is or how hard. It can't be very hard. So I moved into that role, and that was the first of 7 transitions I went through at different institutions, transitioning an institution to NCAA Division II from NAIA.
Okay.
So that kind of became my niche, and right now I'm the chair of the membership committee, NCAA Division II membership committee, which I really value that opportunity to be in that role and help other people make that transition. So I've been at institutions moving them, transitioning them from NAIA to NCAA several times in my career. So I was at Cal Baptist, and that's where I met Mo, and he was there on the athletics administration as well. We worked together there as we transitioned Cal Baptist to Division II, and now they're Division I. But anyway,
but you set the groundwork for that transition.
That's
it sounds
right.
Like,
that's
right.
right.
She did.
So, so that's my pathway. The opportunity to come here opened, and I just couldn't be more thrilled to be here and to live here in this beautiful place. It's just an amazing place to live,
Yep.
And so I love it here and love working with the wonderful people at HPU. So great opportunity.
It is the people here that really make the
people.
difference, and the support that they provide for our students and our community is just like none other in the country. And Mo, so you've worked with Debbie in the past and have come in, and you guys, I imagine, have good synergy and kind of know how to kind of power through things and get your agenda and structures implemented. What's it been like, as you've done that here at HPU?
Yeah, so thank you. And like Debbie said, I just want to thank you and the radio network for their support, and just everyone who supports HPU athletics. So it's been really exciting to be here. And how Debbie and I work together, it's changed over the years because she was somewhat my boss at Cal Baptist when I was there. But we all worked together, and great team. Transitioned Cal Baptist to Division II from NAIA. And then I was there 13 years and then moved on to Concordia University, Irvine, where I was there 7.5 years, and then 3 of those I was the athletic director. And so I think at a professional level, Debbie and I got a lot closer, and we were working together, trying to help our institutions go about their business. And so left Concordia in the public sector, social work, and all of a sudden I get a call from Debbie, hey, would you like to come to Hawaii? Really? So
how long did you have to think about that?
Not very long. Yeah,
yes,
not very
instantly,
long.
I think.
So throughout the years, so 1987 was the first time I ever came to Hawaii as a senior in high school. So I'm dating myself. But yeah, we came out here, and so I loved it that time, and I always said in my head, I want to come back. And so I went into coaching after high school, and we brought some high school teams out here. So I had this familiarity with Hawaii, and then as I got into the conference, we traveled here to Hawaii, and so it was really exciting. So I always thought maybe someday, and so yeah, I didn't have to think
here you
long.
are.
Yeah.
And I imagine no regrets for that decision.
No. My family's on the mainland in Southern California, Riverside, California, and so, getting to see them, they come here more than I go back to the mainland.
How it is, right?
So,
Yep.
yeah, so that's been exciting. But yeah, no regrets. Yeah.
Wow.
No.
Well, so when you guys came in and you inherited the HPU athletics department, what was the first thing, or the direction that you wanted to move? Were there things that stood out back then that you wanted to implement or change or bring to the university?
Sure. Well, as I said, I came from transitioning institutions into what is said to be the model program, and so we had a model program plan, but everything is different. Every institution is different.
Yeah.
All the personnel are different. We came here with a great group of coaches that many of them are still here. So I'm thankful for coming here and learning the way things are done here can be different, and that's okay. Different is okay. We have challenges like any institution, and we're just facing those with the best possible attitude we can, and we have a great staff of coaches and assistant coaches who are doing the same. So many things to work on always, anywhere, but boy, there's no better place to do that than here.
Yeah. And you called out things are different here, that you have to maybe approach things a little different. Can you give us an example of maybe a contrasting issue or way that you work through things here versus?
Well, I think the pace is a little slower here. I find that on the mainland, the everything is faster, including traffic. Mo and I were just talking about that. Everybody's going 70 on 7 lanes in Southern California, and you get here and everybody's going 30 and
letting you
and
you
letting
in,
you right
not,
in.
Yeah, it's really a striking difference, isn't it? I've always thought that if you want to gauge sort of the pace of a community, go stand in a Target for a little while,
right?
And watch, and I've noticed the difference here, where if you're at a store like a Target, there's a slow pace. People are moving slow. They're courteous.
Yes.
They're, and then
so
you
courteous.
go to a lot of other places, mainland, and it's just people whizzing by you.
They will
and
run you
carts
over.
knocking into you. Yeah, it's a noticeable difference.
Yeah, people are kinder. People are helpful. You walk down 4th Street, which I do a lot, by the way, and people will help you. I see people who are looking for a direction, and someone's going to stop and help you. Someone's going to say hello and wave at others, and
it's a good feeling, isn't it? You really do feel
it's a slower
a part of Ohana, as we would say here, right? Not just at the HPU level, but really across all of the state. There's a feeling of camaraderie that you don't get in a lot of places. All right, we are going to take a quick break, and then Tucker, we are going to bring you into the conversation. We're going to talk about SAAC. So bear with us through this commercial break. I'm your host, Jeff Rich. You're listening to Sharks Weekly, and we will be right back.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
And we're back. And hey, folks, don't forget that you can catch all our Sharks Weekly broadcasts by visiting the Hawaii Sports Radio Network website at hawaiisportsradio.com/sharks-weekly. And if you want to see what's happening in the studio, you can catch the recording of the live stream and see all the shenanigans here in studio with our YouTube recording. So we are back, and we are talking today with HPU's athletics department, and we're going to start to talk a bit about SAAC. And SAAC is the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, and representing SAAC today, we have its president, Tucker Pellicci. So Tucker, you are a MBA student here at HPU and a member of the basketball team. Why don't you first tell us a bit about yourself, your journey to HPU, your interests, but let's get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to everybody for putting me in a position to speak about SAAC and kind of talk a little about myself. And thank you to men's basketball coaches for allowing me to be here and continuing to pour into my development and allowing me to get my education here. So big kudos to them. But yeah, my name's Tucker. I'm from Portland, Oregon, and I went to high school at Franklin High School in Southeast Portland. And I've really, with the journey of basketball, I've always been the tallest kid in my class. And so I've always been pressured, and I got into it pretty late. And so I've always been pressured to play basketball. And by the time I got to high school, I was like, okay, I'm actually could be pretty good at this. It helps me.
Did you play multiple sports, or was basketball always?
Basketball was it.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I played lacrosse in middle school, but we don't talk about that. But yeah, I really kind of took a liking to basketball, and I really continued my development more seriously with the eye of playing collegiately during my sophomore year of high school. So I built up through that program, and then I eventually made the decision to come to HPU, and it was super exciting. I could have gone to Hilo, and I was like, I'm a city guy, right? I mean, I'm nothing against Hilo, but I'm from Portland, and I love the hustle and bustle of the city. So Honolulu seemed like a great place to continue that, and it really seemed like a great fit with the coaching staff. So I made the commitment to HPU, and right as soon as I did that, COVID hit, and it was a pretty big shock, and a lot of questions were raised, and how is basketball going to happen, right? So I came out here, and we had our Hawaii pod with our COVID year and played Chaminade 6 times and Hilo 6 times, and it was really a unique experience. But played through that. Since then, I've been here 4 years, just wrapped up my 4th season, and it actually ended up benefiting me that there was a COVID year, because I am able now to come back for my 5th year and continue my MBA. So it's really been a great opportunity, and it really has come full circle. I was able to continue my development, actually play in games in 2020, but then now I can come back and have a 5th year and have that year be free. So.
Nice. So so in your 5th year, you've done what a lot of students have taken advantage of and pursued a master's degree. So you're an MBA candidate.
Yeah.
What's that like? How is that going?
It's been great, and I've worked really closely with the College of Business because they've been super supportive and they want to see me succeed. And so I've worked really closely with the dean, Dean Rosenbaum, and also one of the faculty members, Leslie Blood, and they've been really helpful with my transition into that program because I'm still an undergrad student, but I'm also a master's student at the same time. So they allow me to take master's courses that apply towards my undergrad degree, and then next year when I take remaining credits, I'll be able to apply those.
Yep. And and not to digress, but I just wanted to call that out because especially for parents listening, we've kind of stepped into a new world with the opportunity for students, even at the high school level, to pursue college level courses. We have a program with area high schools, for example, that allow high school students to get their associate's degree and enter college as a sophomore or junior, essentially, for only 2 years. And then also, what you've done is once you're here and you're pursuing that bachelor's degree, taking the right array of courses to align yourself to get a master's degree for not much more time. And it sounds like you've done that, and you've kind of pursued the dual path. Mm-hmm. Very smart.
Taking advantage of all the opportunities they have here, and it's been awesome. I'm really glad they have those programs here, and I'm able to actually do that because a lot of universities, they don't offer that. So It's been awesome.
And I'll say too that there's a lot of conversation around the country about the value of a college degree today. Is it worth it? Is it worth the expense? And like anything, it depends on what career you want to pursue to answer that question. But for most people, if you're stepping into certainly a business arena, it's not just a bachelor's degree that you need to succeed, but you really need a master's degree today to work in America's top businesses or small businesses. Something that you're interested in, I noted on your profile, that you and I share a common love of marketing, and one of your aspirations is to pursue the development of a marketing agency and be the lead and the president. So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I've people who know me from Portland and now too. They know I'm a big entrepreneur, and I like to run my own businesses, and as my coach puts it, very resourceful. And so I think that is very beneficial when you're trying to run a small business. And I've really kind of found through my studies of marketing that's really beneficial in marketing as well, being resourceful and being able to do what it takes to get views on a product or a brand. And so I've really kind of had this thought of, well, I'm so good at it, why don't I help people who may not be so good at it? And so that's really where I've kind of come up with this idea of being a marketing, starting my own marketing agency for small businesses, because the big companies, big corporations, they have it figured out pretty much, and this little guy maybe not so much. And so if I'm able to bring my experience and resourcefulness to them, I think that can be really beneficial, and it really makes me feel an impact more. It really is more rewarding for me as well, personally and professionally, because you can really see your impact on a business, right? Yeah. It's not you're doing one project for a huge company, it's the culmination of all these other projects for these little companies that can really help them grow.
It's a great niche to pursue. Small retail, for example, they have to compete with the big box stores, and they still have to do the same things. They have to do Google search to let people know that their store is there, their products are there. They often don't have the resources to do those things. Both people, sometimes money, but more times than not, it's they just don't have the access to the same level of resource that big business does to implement those programs. So, what have you found are areas of interest or effective areas of marketing for small business? So you think about things like social media, digital search. Are there areas that you kind of focus in on?
Yeah, I mean, social media is a huge one. I've really kind of gone down a rabbit hole of SEO and Google search and Google ads and that kind of stuff, because with my business back in Portland, I was a phone repair, mobile phone repair company. So there's a lot of competition, right? You break your phone, you're stressed out, you want to figure out where you want to go. And so I've learned that, especially in that field, Google search is very, very valuable, and having credibility is super valuable as well. So I think that digital marketing has really caught my eye, and how you build that credibility. And it's crazy because even the algorithms in Google, they're able to sense your credibility as a business. And so
relevancy scores.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And that's something that I find really interesting, and how you can really build that within Google and move yourself up on the rankings. And I find that really fascinating.
Yeah. And it's a great area to pursue too, because with Google constantly changing their algorithm, for marketing service providers, you have to constantly be adapting the SEO strategies for the site, the Google search strategies for paid media, and it never ends.
Nope.
And
that's the beauty of it.
Well, hey, so we're going to come back to talking marketing shop here. I think a little bit later in the show, because I want to make sure we give due justice to a very important committee here for the student athlete. So Tucker and Mo, you guys work together very closely on the SAAC committee. Let's start by just telling our listeners what is the SAAC committee and what's its mission.
I think it's on. Can you hear me?
I think you're good.
Yeah. Okay. I'll let Tucker do that, but at least this I can understand what you guys were just talking about. I have no balls and strikes. I get all that stuff. Requisition. I could do all that, but yeah, Tucker.
Yeah. So. The Student Athlete Advisory Committee is basically a culmination, kind of on a micro level at HPU, of student athletes who really vouch for and fight for the wellness, the rights of student athletes. So we were developed to make sure that athletes had a voice in decisions that the NCAA and even administration on a micro level was making. And so it really is each sport has two representatives, so we all meet once a month and we find ways and try to brainstorm and talk about ways we can make the athlete experience better. And it really has been a really beautiful process that I've been able to lead this year and be able to see how much we can impact the student athlete and what we can do, especially on a unique campus like HPU, right? It's not a typical campus experience. It's a commuter campus. So trying to build that sense of community has been a really big key for me, and making sure that athletes feel connected to one another. And it's not just this team and this team, right? They feel like they're all one team here at HPU.
Very nice.
Yeah, and I would say Tucker's done a great job in his leadership, along with Ashley Nunez, the vice president. I don't know if, as an advisor, Dana and I could ask for better people to lead this group, because as an advisor, you don't want to handhold the people. You want the decisions to be those of the student athlete. And so they've done a great job, amazing job. And Dane, with his leadership, has been awesome. We're kind of like, what is that, the frick and frack, type thing.
The yin and the yang.
Yeah, yin and yang. So that's been really good to be a part of. And I would say, and Debbie can correct me, but SAAC did not have a voice the way it does today in 2024. Back when I started getting, getting involved with the NCAA, so 2010, the voice that they had was not near it is now. Now it is amazing at a national level. You have people, student athletes that are on the national board now, and so it's just incredible how it's evolved. And then to be a part of it here at our local college has just been amazing. So
yeah, and of course for our listeners, when you refer to Dane, that's your co-advisor, HPU's head baseball coach, Dane Fujinaka. So yeah, and but so with regard to the membership, Tucker. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and keep talking SAAC. So, Tucker, hold that thought, and I will come back to you in a minute. You're listening to Sharks Weekly. I'm your host, Jeff Rich, and we will be right back.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
And we're back. And hey, before we jump back into our conversation about SAAC, the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, I just want to give a big shout out and thanks to our sponsors for this show. Thank you to Outrigger Resorts and Hotels. Hawaii-based Outrigger Resorts and Hotels is proud to support the collegiate athletes of Hawaii Pacific University and Equus. Equus is Waikiki's best lifestyle boutique hotel. Enjoy big savings year-round at a prime location. All right, so Tucker, so we were about to start to talk about sort of the makeup and the more about the purpose of SAAC. So, what is the membership or the committee comprised of here at HPU, and how do athletes get on that committee?
Yeah, so it really, at the beginning of each year, we ask coaches to submit 2 names from their team who are able to represent the interests and really the overall feel of the team. So every team at HPU has 2 representatives, and that basically attend monthly meetings. And then there's also the executive board, myself, president, Ashley, our vice president. We also have our secretary, Elise from soccer, our treasurer, Kent from cross country, and Devin from Acros, our social media coordinator. So it really is kind of it's a hierarchical structure, but it is kind of just a one big team that works together to work for the betterment of athletes. And so it really has been great hearing the voices of every team, because once you get all of us into one room together, it's interesting to hear their different perspectives on everything, because they practice at different places, their games are different formats, and so they all have their own interests that they're representing. So it's really cool as president to kind of see all of those in action.
Yeah, and now, the membership of 2 athletes per sport are selected from the coach or recommended. Your roles are all elected roles, so you're elected by your peer athletes to play those very important roles. Yeah,
so at the end of every year, we vote for the following year, and so that actually will be coming up soon for next year. So the SAAC members will vote on who they would like to be in those executive positions the following year. So it's awesome. We have quite a bit of interest for next year, so I'm excited to get that ball rolling and kind of have a set plan going into the summer so we can start planning some of the initiatives.
Got it. So, like any committee, you have to have a set of things that you're addressing or advocating for. How does this committee form its agenda? Are you given sort of things to address from the prior year, or from the coaches, or from the athletics department, or does the committee really identify what those priorities and initiatives are, and then socialize those and elevate those as your primary initiatives for that year?
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing I really do appreciate about it is it's student athlete run, right? Like they're here to, the admin are here to advise and to kind of point us in the right direction, but it really is kind of a student athlete run program. And so it all starts in the summer. 2 of us go to the conference retreat. So it's the SAAC, the PacWest SAAC retreat, and that's hosted at different schools every year. And 2 people, it could be an admin, it could be a student, go to the retreat, and we kind of all come together and we talk about the general topics that we find athletes to be struggling with or ways we can improve, and you get ideas from different schools. And so it really is a really collective environment just from the get-go. That starts in summer. So then as we kind of transition into the school year, you get to meet with the athletes from all the teams, and you kind of collect brainstorming ideas. You bring up ideas that you may have heard from the retreat. The advisors will also kind of bring in their thoughts. And so it's really just a general feel from all of the athletes, and you really dive in on a few of the different topics that you hear. And this year we've really focused on a few things. I mentioned earlier bringing athletes together and making it more of a community feel here, and then also mental health is super important, and that's something that a lot of schools around the nation have really focused on. And then I would say third, academic success as well is super important, in making sure that there's resources from the school on the academic side and on the athletic side that kind of match and are able to help athletes thrive.
Now, are those issues addressed at just the HPU or university level, or are you addressing them in terms of more holistically the student athlete at any school? So it is sort of industry, so to speak, avocation, or is it specific to the school?
Yeah, I mean, for our role, it's more specific to the school, but we do also work with the conference SAAC and the national SAAC, and that's where you kind of see that those themes kind of trickle down to where we are, because they're dealing with a lot of like legislation and name, image, and likeness and things like that. So you do see that more on a macro level, kind of from the national and conference SAAC, and then it kind of trickles down to a micro level where I kind of position myself, where do we apply that to HPU, right?
Okay.
So we do work closely with conference advisors, and national advisors who kind of tell us what the landscape is. And Mo keeps us well informed and forwards us all these emails for legislation and that kind of stuff. So it's super interesting how the game and how just being a student athlete has changed over the years.
Yeah. Mo, how do you and Dane interact then? How are you helping to provide some guidance and some thought leadership, maybe elevation, as Tucker said, of certain issues that you'd like the committee to take a look at?
Sure. So like Tucker said, we get these grids that have different either legislation or different issues, name and image, likeness things. So we are taking it and trying to bring it down to a level where these guys get to understand it, and we might break those things down for them and say, this is why, or the reasoning behind why this is happening. And obviously they're not going to be able to meet with Debbie and our admin team, and the things we're talking about. So we're trying to break it down so they understand the initiatives that they want to try and push forward, maybe why it might not be so good, or why, maybe go in this direction, things like that. So just guidance. But yeah, it's been we have a really smart group. They're very attentive. They're about the whole group and not just individuals. So that makes it really easy. And I know it's a privilege for me to be there, and I know for Coach Dane the same. We enjoy being around these student athletes. So.
Yeah. And so, Debbie, you've you've probably seen SAAC in action for a number of years in the role that you've been in. When you think back through your career, what are some of the impactful things that have come out of SAAC initiatives?
Well, it has changed over the years. I remember several years ago we were in a SAAC meeting and they were bringing up topics of concern for them, which we find very important. We want to hear what is concerning to you. What do you need us to do to help you, support you? What changes can we help you advocate for? And at this point in time, many years ago, they said this dining hall had discontinued chocolate milk. So they really wanted chocolate milk back in the dining hall because of the attributes that chocolate.
The health benefits, not just the couple people like chocolate milk.
The recovery to your muscle structure, all that. It's important. Actually, it really is. So anyway, so I said, well, you should get together then and put your case before the food service provider and go do that. I was not going to do that for them because they're smart. They're capable, and they did put together a great presentation. Went to the food service provider and got chocolate milk back in the food service.
Very nice.
So, and that's important. I mean, it's important. What's important to them is important to us, right? It doesn't matter what. But now, even more important, mental health issues, name, image, likeness issues, the transfer portal. How is that good? How is that bad? All the things that really are affecting the lives of a student athlete on a daily basis are really, really important. And now, the National SAAC, Committee Local, Committee Conference, Committee National will have representatives. Tucker, by the way, has been selected as an intern for the Pac-West Conference and is serving in that role this year. Congratulations to
Thank you.
Nice.
We're so proud of him. He's helping with their championships and other things, so congratulations on that. I'm sure he was not going to bring that up, but I wanted to. But the National SAAC does stand up at convention and speak on the convention floor now and speaks on legislation, and they have a vote. So they really do impact the whole committee. All of Division II is in a giant ballroom at National Convention, and they listen to the student athletes' voice and their vote. So it's impactful, and it should be.
Very nice. And on behalf of chocolate milk lovers all over the world, thank you for advocating for for that.
That's right.
That was a big win. I want to come back to mental health. So, that it's come up as a theme in so many conversations across higher ed these days. And, whether it's outcomes of the pandemic or just the added stress and pressures that young people are presented with today growing up in a digital age. So, it's probably something that, if you think about the impacts of social media, for example, on student mental health, it's something as a marketer you might have a unique perspective on as well. But, what's your point of view about what's driving, the mental health challenges today in collegiate lifestyle, not just sports?
Yeah, I mean, we all know we're in changing times, and I think that it's important to recognize those changing times. And I think social media does have a pretty big impact on that, and it's like we were talking earlier in the break, like it's a totally, how you find information and how you do things now is completely different than even 10, 15 years ago. And so it really is a changing landscape. And I think that does have effects. Maybe, there's both positive and negative effects on mental health.
Right.
But I think just for athletes, the way we're able to, especially being in a, D2 organization, we're able to balance a lot of the things that we do. And so if we're just here to support the mental health of athletes, I think is super important. And I want to say like a lot of it comes from just balancing the academic and athletic stressors and having games, and especially being in Hawaii. I mean, we have to travel. When we travel, it's a usually 10-day road trip. And so you're maybe missing some classes and missing exams. And so it really is just trying to find that good balance. And I think that has a really big impact on the overall mental health of athletes, especially kind of at HPU.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's an ongoing challenge, and one that is not going to get easier. So thanks to the committee for taking that head on. All right, hey, we are going to take our last break for this show. We will be right back. You are listening to Sharks Weekly. I'm your host, Jeff Rich, and we'll talk to you in a few.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
And we are back. You are listening to Sharks Weekly. We are in studio today with HPU Executive Athletic Director Debbie Snell and Associate Athletic Director, got to spit that one out, Mo Roberson.
Good morning.
And the President of the HPU Student Athlete Advisory Committee, Tucker Pellicci. So, Tucker, I want to come back to some of the initiatives of focus this year for the committee. Tell us, what have you guys been working on? What are some of the impacts you think that the committee's work is going to have?
Yeah, so the first initiatives that we've brought to the table have been to bring together all of the athletes, like I mentioned earlier. So the way we do that is these things called athletics roundups. So this last year we had a spike ball tournament at Ala Moana Beach Park where every team had come, and we make it a mandatory thing for each team to come. And so we had this big bracket, and we had food and games, and so we gave out gift cards as well to the winners. And so it really was just trying to bring everyone together and kind of take out that competitive, we're all athletes, we all like to win. And so we try to play that to our advantage and have these little competitions for people to get involved with. And so that was a big success. We had 300 athletes out in the field at Ala Moana Beach Park, and it was a great time, and I've heard a lot of positive feedback from that. And so from the hard work of all of our representatives and board members, we were able to get that done, and from athletics as well. And it's been great. And we just recently did another roundup event, which is usually we only do one, but this year we did two. So we did one at the senior night for the men's basketball and women's basketball games. So we got together and we did halftime games and media timeout games and gave out gift cards and had a whole student athlete section. And so free food. Yeah, it's been great. So, and I found that it's funny because athletes will come out for competition and for free food. That's right. So we try to involve both of those in all of our in all of our events.
We learned that a while ago. If you want the students to turn out for anything, put some food out, right?
Yeah,
provide food.
And it's good food too. We've had we have some of our sponsors work with us, and we're able to get that taken care of. So it's awesome. We've also had a big focus on mental health, like I had mentioned, and we had just debuted our student athlete empowerment meetings, and so that was a big push that I have been trying to get going from the SAAC retreat that I had this summer. I believe Point Loma Nazarene University had been doing that. They've been doing weekly meetings with their school psychiatrist, kind of a group therapy, so to speak, where you have like 10 or 15 athletes in a room with the psychiatrist, and you talk about some of the common challenges that athletes may be experiencing. And so we've kind of put our twist on it, and so now our first meeting is next Thursday at 6 p.m. Waterfront Plaza Building 1 and 460 or 560.
Okay.
And so we're working with our school psychiatrist, Kevin Bowman. He's going to come, and we're going to have our student athletes come, and every month we'll talk about a different topic that is kind of on the minds of student athletes. So
it's got to be enormously beneficial to be able to talk about those topics.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and one of the things we tried to emphasize, not only to our SAAC members, but even Dr. Bowman brought this up, this will not be a session where you go in and talk, about your coach or something like that. There's a different avenue for that. But so these guys were really receptive to that, and so was he. So I'm excited to see the outcome of this. And again, this is all student-led, so we're really excited.
And now I understand community service organization is a big part of the committee's objectives as well?
Yeah, so we like to encourage teams to do their own community service and get out there in the community, but we're also working on different activities that us as a SAAC can do. Previous years we've done beach cleanups, food drives, and even on the conference and national level they'll give us a initiative that they want to accomplish, and so food drives and that kind of things that we can also bring down to HPU. And so this year HPU is actually the recipient for the runner-up for the National Award of Excellence. So that was a big accomplishment. I feel like, so it's probably been for the past 3 years, we've been the Pac West nominee for that award. And this year we came in second place, which is awesome. They give us money to put back into our community here in Hawaii, and that's been super awesome. We worked with every team at HPU and the admin to bring relief to Lahaina victims. And so it has really been awesome to see how much impact we can have in Hawaii, right? I mean, we're not trying to do things on the mainland and do these big efforts. We're really focusing on the micro level of, on our island and in our local, elementary schools and environments, but then also over in Maui with that devastating wildfire, and ways that we can help with fundraising and packing up cans and everything that we can do is humanly possible to help them.
So was it SAAC behind the Maui fundraiser?
That's right. And Tucker was asked to come, and he actually came to my office, had a Zoom meeting with the NCAA staff, Division II staff, and they recorded a presentation that Tucker put together about that event, and they played it on the big screen at the National Convention. There was Tucker on the big screen at convention, and everybody cheering, way to go. And he talked about that Maui Strong fundraiser and what they did there with the T-shirt sales and the armbands and the clothing drive that they all took part in and helped to get a great amount of donation for the Maui Strong Fund. So congratulations, Tucker, on that. We were very, very proud of what they did with that fundraiser.
That was just a great initiative, and a great T-shirt, by the way. Too,
yes, yes.
It's awesome. Something you want to wear every day,
Right.
Wow. Well, on behalf of the university's administration, I want to thank you for your efforts and leadership on the committee. It's a critically important group to have advocating for student athletes, and the outcomes and impacts of your work are clear and obvious and highly impactful.
Thank you.
So thanks for all that work. Hey, we got a couple minutes left, and I wanted to, come back a little bit maybe and talk a little shop with you.
Okay,
so,
I'm out.
No, you guys got to listen to this. So, I remember, when social media around 2008 became sort of a mainstream marketing tool, that was an entree for a lot of people to step into marketing and have new sets of skills or interests. I remember when I entered marketing, I'm not going to date myself, but it was when database marketing and CRM were starting to become sort of a dominant component of marketing. Today, if you ask me what question is driving the evolution of marketing, I would say I think AI is going to have a big impact on marketing. How are you thinking about, as a new person entering the field and thinking about starting a marketing shop, any thoughts on how AI kind of weaves into that?
Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome being in school when all of this, we're on the cusp of something new. And so, especially with AI, it's interesting to think about how much easier it can make marketing, but it's also, I think it makes it more competitive as well, right? I mean, if everybody's going to be using AI, then who's really going to stand out, and how do you continue to make yourself stand out? And so I think AI is a really powerful tool when you're breaking down all this information and data, and you're trying to find the right keywords to use to put your information in front of other people. And so I think it'll have a profound impact, and I'm still trying to see how that'll come to fruition. But I'm definitely here for it, and I'm excited to learn more and be part of it.
I think you're dead on. If I had to guess on the impacts of AI, I think it has the biggest impact on writing, copywriting, that it has impacts on Google search, but also media buying, right? Automated media buying in the digital world. That takes a whole human element out of it. So we have a lot of new things coming, and I see that we are running out of time because we could talk about this for another hour and make Mo
Jeff.
and Debbie just want to get out of here, right?
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes,
this has been great.
Thank you to everybody. You guys were fantastic. I want to thank you for all your hard work on behalf of the university. And we will look for you next week here on Sharks Weekly, so catch us next Thursday morning. Thank you to our in-studio guests. Everybody have a wonderful week. And stay cool out there.
Aloha.
Thank you. Aloha.
You've been listening to the Hawaii Sports Radio Network's special presentation of Sharks Weekly.